Welcome back to Black Market Leadership. This is a special little podcast for us. It's not going to be very long. This is a review of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, which I just saw about 2 hours ago. Oh, okay, this is a review of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. So before I do this, let me just give you a little background from who I am and where I'm coming from, so maybe you can appreciate this review. As you know, I'm a leadership expert, and I'm writing a book on leadership and chaos, so strength and chaos. So I use a lot of media, movies, books, obviously, but especially TV shows. I use them for guides to help people up their game as leaders and managers. So, if you've seen my background, I've done, let's see, Ford versus Ferrari. I've analyzed The Founder with Michael Keaton, American Crime Story, People versus O.J. Simpson. So, there's been a lot of shows. I love using shows to help develop people. This movie is definitely a candidate to be used to explore leadership, specifically personalities. I like Christopher Nolan a lot. In fact, I think The Dark Knight's probably probably the best comic book movie, even though it's really not a comic book. I loved Inception. It took Christopher Nolan 10 years to write it. I think Inception is genius. It's such a complex story, and the fact that I could watch it in one sitting, like, oh, I get it. Tenet, I don't know what the hell Tenet was about. Do not like it. Will not watch it again. So that's where I'm coming from Christopher Nolan. Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is obviously a bio about uh, Oppenheimer, the father of the atom bomb. It is a fantastic movie. It's absorbing, it's gripping. There were several times during the movie where I sat back and I actually realized that I was gripping my seat. In fact, I think I gripped it the way I did watching his Nolan's Dunkirk. When the movie, again, there are no spoilers here, no spoilers. I'm just gonna give you a little update about the movie, a little intro or something to I guess attract you to it if you like this kind of stuff. If you like history, if you like movies about people and personalities, you're gonna love this movie. This movie does not build up. You jump on a train, that train's moving, and when it starts, you're on it, man. It's fast, 3 acts. Uh, First act is really about Oppenheimer. You see his background, how he gets to literally lead the Manhattan Project. That's all of Act Two is what they do with the atom bomb, of how they make it, atom bombs. And then Act Three is where really Act Three is almost uncovering a mystery. It is a movie about it's a grown up movie. It is a movie for men and women, not kids. And when I say kids, I don't mean adolescents. There are a lot of 30 and 40-year-olds who are adolescents. This is not a movie for them. This is for people, real people. The movie is about Oppenheimer. It literally, even though he's the father of the atom bomb's there, the science is there. This is a movie about the man. It is a movie about a personality. This is a man about control. He has a lot of ambition. He wants to do great things, big things, and he does it. And he gets to a point and he has to maintain it. And he is betrayed. And you see this movie, how he reacts, how he responds. It is a very complex. I want to see the movie again. I do, because I know I probably missed some things. But leaving the movie, I was very, very satisfied in knowing that I got the gist of it. This is how I usually break movies down. I break them in three categories: audio, visual. Okay, so audio, visual. The sound effects, the picture. Uh, 4.5 out of 5. I give it 4.5 out of 5 only because there are a couple scenes where Oppenheimer's talking. I couldn't hear what he was saying. I heard some things, but I couldn't pick it up. I had to lean in. But other than that, boy, talk about sound effects. When the atom bombs goes off and you see at the Trinity test, the room was shaking. The entire cinema was shaking. The lights, the bomb, the explosions, it's amazing. You feel like you're there. And again, I did not see IMAX. I probably should have, but I saw it in a regular theater and the theater was shaking. So it was a hell of an experience. You could feel it in your bones. Another thing about the visual is Nolan puts you in the psyche of the characters. And there's one scene, I am not going to spoil it, but there's one scene with Florence Pugh, and you're gonna know what it is. You're trust me. There was a young lady with her mother sitting next to me, and she became very uncomfortable. There's one scene in there that it boy, it grips you, and it grips you in an emotional way, but not the emotion you're probably thinking. I was like, oh, Lord. Oh, boy, it's uncomfortable. Script. That's the second area I look at script. The script is brilliant. There's certain themes that play throughout this movie, and boy, it just genius script. It's kind of like Inception. The writing was amazing, and there's certain themes that they either repeat or they're reinforced through imagery, through the language, the dialogue. You'll hear a lot about chain reaction. Amazing, and yeah. There's two lines I took out of this. Now I'm totally paraphrasing, but I think you'll get the power of these. One is genius does not equate to wisdom. Genius does not equate to wisdom, and this is an issue that you're going to see with Oppenheimer. Just because he's smart does not necessarily mean he is adaptable to his environment. Environment filled with politicians and a government. Oh boy, genius does not equate to wisdom. And the other one that I got, and I got to use this one. I got to use this one. Important is not the same as self-important. I'll say that again. Being important is not the same as self-important. Oh, I know a lot of people who that apply to. Oh man, you see it. This movie is mostly talking. There's some action, but it's a cerebral movie. It is intense emotions. You are in the head of Oppenheimer. Most time you see. And by the way, there are scenes in here that are black and white and some are color. Just let you know, Robert Downey Jr. is in this, and he plays really the antagonist to Oppenheimer, and great role. He does such a great job. But you'll see scenes in black and white, which are really his perspective. The color is Oppenheimer's perspective. So again, I'm not spoiling anything. Just be prepared for that. Act 2, tense, very tense. I was like, I had some very strong emotions come out. It's like, I was taken in. I would tell you right now, 3-hour movie. I did not look at my phone one time. Did not. I was enthralled. Three things I think you should know about this movie. Walking in, you should walk in with this in the back of your head. One is, again, I'm not spoiling anything. One is the role of communists in the government in the late 40s and 50s, 60s. This is the Cold War, and and again, I'm not spoiling anything. Oppenheimer was accused of being a communist or communist sympathizer, and the government comes at him like, hey, you're affiliated with communists. The movie does not really lay out appropriately. I don't want a lot of people today to think like, they're socialists. Who cares? It's just a conflict of ideas. No, it was not a conflict of ideas. There were communists in the government. All McCarthyism was not bad. They were actually plucking out real communists. And communism is not, your sociology professor in college with his $200,000 job and in his plush office. These were people. This was an ideology that was bent on overturning the government, of enslaving the West and capitalists. So it's not just a matter of opinion. It really was a matter of life and death. So they do not really show that. I guess they assume you should know that. I don't think a lot of people do. So when the government's coming after Oppenheimer about potentially being a communist, that's real. That's a serious issue, and it's not just a matter of opinion. So please keep that in mind. The second thing is they talk about the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, obviously, for the atom bombs. They talk about the death toll. Well, they don't tell you, and it's kind of a shame they do not. I'm kind of surprised they didn't. Maybe they didn't know this back then. But prior to those bombings, the island of Okinawa had been invaded, and the Americans took enormous casualties. Enormous. It was going to be a bloodbath. So they knew from their experience just off of Japan at Okinawa. If they invaded the island, it would have been enormous casualties. In fact, my understanding is it was called Operation Iceberg. The projection was 1 million American casualties. 1 million. That's how hard it would have been. So that fact right there really justifies using the bomb, and they do not give you that information. So keep that in mind. And the third thing is, this is really not a political movie. You might be surprised hearing that. It really isn't. It's about a man who creates, in a sense, he's naive. He goes into an area, creates something, which opens a Pandora's box, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. It doesn't really go, the movie's not left or right. If anything, it shows you just how evil politicians can be, or people with political aspirations. That's very true. So even though it talks about nuclear weapons, and the chances of a cataclysmic future, I don't think that's really a left or right issue. I think you're seeing what a person like Oppenheimer is really thinking. Is like, oh my God, what have I created? What have I done? Because once you make one, you got to make more, and your enemy's gonna make more. So you see how the movie goes. So saying that, highly recommend it. I would give, again, audio visual 4.5 out of 5, script 5 out of 5. The emotion, the third element, the emotion, didn't look at my phone once. I was enthralled. A lot of talking, a lot of words, a lot of interactions, but I was following it, which is I think a real testament to a great script. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend you go see Oppenheimer. And if you do, please leave me some notes. Tell me what you think. I might go see it again, and I might do a behavioral analysis as much as I can on the character. He's got some wonderful, wonderful patterns and traits about his natural behavioral style, and I could pluck some out right now, but I'm not going to. Go see it. Remember, this is a movie about people, about mankind, about a man who wants fame, who wants something great for himself, and he achieves it, and he tries to maintain it. Wonderful movie, excellent performances all around. Go see it.